Unitarian Universalism stands among the liberal faith traditions of this nation. As a denomination, not just this congregation, but all of our congregations, UU advocates for LGBTQ rights, reproductive rights, civil rights, affordable housing, and climate justice, as we work together to promote social justice and repair this world. Today, we warmly welcome back Bill Heavlin to the UUCC pulpit. His sermon is entitled Songs of Sinew, Songs of Bone. Two different kinds of identity-forming stories. Stories of energy and effort, and stories of contemplation and insight. These stories inspire us to contemplate our own lives more deeply, and in turn to listen to one another's stories with renewed attention.
And now it's time to light our chalice. Chalice lighting is a ritual that unites us as Unitarian Universalists. The lit candle shining into the darkness has the same World War II origin story as Amnesty International logo. So please join me in reading these words by Reverend Kimberly and Tom Zach Carlson in your order service, entitled People of Memory. We are people of memory. As inheritors of our ancestors' legacy, we hold their stories tenderly, gleaning wisdom from diverse journeys, united in hope for the future. Guide us to trust and love as we kindle this flame together.
Okay, so we're introducing here, before the sermon, a couple pieces. One is a song of sinew, the anthem sung by Laurel, and one, a song of bone, a poem read by David. Laurel's piece, made famous by Leslie Gore, was featured solo in the Coastside Pride Chorus Cabaret a couple of weeks ago.
Thank you, Bill. So this song is probably one that you might recognize, because I think many of us grew up about the same time listening to the same kind of music. And just as a reminder, Leslie Gore sang It's My Party. Yeah. And Judy's Turn to Cry, Sunshine Lollipop. Yeah, okay. This is a song of sinew, and the songs of sinews are songs of energy and opposition. And it's a kind of a call to action type song. This particular song kind of pushes against the patriarchy and promotes women's autonomy and joy. And we'll see how this goes. I hope you can hear me okay. You don't own me. I'm not just one of your many toys. You don't own me. Don't say I can't go with other boys, girls, boys, girls. And don't tell me what to do, and don't tell me what to say. Please, when I go out with you, don't put me on display, 'cause you don't own me. Don't try to change me in any way. You don't own me. Don't tie me down, 'cause I'll never stay. I don't tell you what to say. I don't tell you what to do. Just let me be myself. That's all I ask of you. I'm young, and I love to be young. I'm free, and I love to be free to live my life the way I want, to say and do whatever I please. Don't you dare put me on display. I don't tell you what to say. I don't tell you what to do. Just let me be myself. That's all I ask of you. I'm young, and I love to be young. I'm free, and I love to be free. To live my life the way I want. To say and do whatever I please. You don't own me. You don't own me. You don't own me. Thank you.
I'm going to read a poem now by Jose Antonio Rodriguez, who was a Mexican immigrant, first generation college graduate. He's written a memoir and 4 poetry collections, including the forthcoming A Day's Hard Edge. Songs of Bone are songs of identity and insight. Bill has selected this poem to illustrate a song of bone. Thinking how much my father loved flowering plants and how much my mother still does, and how unfathomably hard it must have been to clothe and feed 10 children, with the most meager of salaries for tending to citrus orchards, for shoveling and irrigating and shoveling again, and how he groaned when I removed his work boots at the end of the day, and how exhaustion was deeper than any well. Mom says his boss was a jerk. Nothing ever good enough. On top of everything, that empathy of her for him, who never listened to her pleas because the priest said, all the children God will allow. The priest who never saw her afternoons slumped by the kitchen table, a blank stare into somewhere my voice could never reach. Nothing to do but walk away. I swear this is not about the unwanted child, or about a therapist, what a therapist would call embodiment of the violation. No, this is about the strength and the will to cradle the plants outside, the pruning, the watering, the sheltering, and found tarps and twine against the coldest nights, to lean into the day's hard edge, and still find that reserve of tenderness for the bougainvillea, for the hibiscus, and for the blue morning.
And now it is my great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. After a 4-decade-long career in Silicon Valley, Bill Heavlin retired exactly 2.00 years ago today. He has one son who is married and residing in Minneapolis. Along with his wife Noreen, Bill is one of the principal lay leaders of the Unitarian Universalist Coastside community, along with Esther Wallace, who he has guided 2 iterations of this sermon writing class for lay people, the Shared Pulpit. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you, Laurel. It's very touching to see all of you here today. There's even more on Zoom. This story was inspired at a yoga retreat. The yoga was restorative yoga, super gentle yoga, especially aware of aging bodies like mine. And some of you know Linda Grace. She teaches restorative yoga at Senior Coastsiders. Restorative yoga has an extraordinary origin story. Developed by Judith Hansen Lassiter, co-founder of Yoga Journal and more, at one point in her life, Lassiter realized she had aged out of doing classical yoga. Lassiter had two insights. One, there's a lot of yoga practitioners like her, aging and aching out of yoga. Two, as a trained physical therapist, she could reconstruct a yoga for aging bodies like hers, like mine. This story illustrates the growth mindset. Encountering a boundary, like becoming unable to do classical yoga anymore, and adapting, continuing on. Obstacles recast as opportunities. It's a great small story about growth mindset. But today I'm not talking about growth versus fixed mindset. I'm inspired by Lassiter's big idea underlying restorative yoga. Support the bones. But first, an aside about yoga. Yoga is one of these ethics plus meditation traditions that recur across world religions, balancing good works with anxiety reduction skills. This pairing of ethics plus meditation comes to mind every time I hear about burnout among, say, social workers, social justice warriors, those working tirelessly to do good. Back to yoga. The last posture of any yoga class is called savasana. Your body is deeply relaxed, and the series of preceding postures have worked to clear your mind. Mind relaxed, body relaxed. Lassiter's insight was that of the many paths to savasana, she could work backwards from savasana to find an easy, safe path for bodies like mine. Bodies seemingly filled with only stiffness and aches. Hence, support the bones. So, imagine me lying down and my arms extended, like this. Straight out, elbow locked. There's muscle tone, muscle tension, either working or getting ready to work. So a little tense. Now, put a pillow under this forearm. The elbow is just a little bit flexed. The muscles no longer on alert, more relaxed. From this idea, Lassiter's big idea. Restorative yoga as a series of postures guiding your body toward deep relaxation. A relaxation in support of and as a prelude to a calmer mind, a more empty mind. So I arrive here at this point in the sermon with this phrase, support the bones, and this new notion. Yoga for the body, muscles and skeletons relaxed. Maybe there's some analogy between supporting the bones of our physical selves and supporting the bones of our emotional selves, our psychological selves, our spiritual selves. Support the bones. So let's play with this concept. There's an easy part. The analogy between tense muscles and our many thoughts. These lie visibly before us. Like, maybe there's too much religion in this talk. or too much yoga, so I'll stop listening. Or this world doesn't need more navel gazing, it needs more fill in the blank. Or what Bill's talking about, it doesn't even seem very UU. It's weird. Or really, I'm just here for the music. I'm here for the music. Today's anthem, the bang-up anthem sung by Laurel, You Don't Own Me. This also displays thoughts in reaction. And in an election where reproductive freedom is on the line, democracy is on the line, I think for many of us, Laurel's anthem speaks to how we feel. And the Michael Jordan quote I read earlier, expressing growth mindset, failures as learning opportunities. This is also an example of muscle tense line of thinking. A muscle tense line of thinking. Pushing on something. Pushing back on something. Songs of sinew. That's today's term for this. Exercising and committing mental energy. Pushing on something. Pushing against something. You don't own me. Not bad images for a sermon on a Sunday adjacent to Labor Day. And yet, if this support the bones analogy holds, then there's some complementary mode of thinking out there. Something different from and seemingly on the other side of this muscle tense thing I've called songs of sinew, which I choose to call songs of bone. Maybe some clue for what this is might be in today's reading, Tender, that David read. This poem is one of deep understanding, empathy, and adults' later in life insight about one's parents, connecting the poet's own life trajectory to his parents creating that reserve of tenderness for the bougainvillea, the hibiscus, and the blue morning. A song of bone. And now, to keep my end of the relationship here, I offer this song of bone of mine, drawing from the same inspiration for this whole service, a restorative yoga class. Savasana, a poem by me. So by her soft voice, the second pose folded us forward into supplication. Such is what I remember of the beginning. Child's pose, easy enough on empty lungs, yet with a heaviness on inhale, and me beginning with every breath to remember and to forget something. Then we are sitting, legs crossed, spine both up and twisting left, my backbone chuckling like those kid goats climbing on their elders' backs, all slidey and self-adroit there all at once. Twisting right, and my vertebrae snap into the order that my life has formed, unplanned, and reassembled by forgetting enough of the marks of questions and the hearts once broken. and she bids us lie down, backs grounded, feet flopped open, palms half upward. Savasana, she calls it. This posture, corpse-like in tension. Support the bones, she says. So no sinew speaking, no tripwires catching, no smirks deflecting, no beer steins clinking, no shoulder shrugging, no punchlines like picket ball. Essentials only, bones only. Which is where I once made peace with my mother's memory. For her not being goat goddess after all, and me not becoming a Billy the Kid hero. With her odd life of 61 years, I wove this piece in 60 odd words, in as many bones as our two spines, more or less. If you don't count like a hero or a goddess, but wanting just a little bit more like all of us, counting like a corpse, in forgiving all the bones, forgetting some of the bones, some with question marks, some with broken hearts, all the unbidden privileges of living, really. And as this soft voice calls us back to roll over, up, and into this brief life, I wonder what that might mean today. So that's a song of bone. There's a certain mental lowering of the guard that comes in speaking a bone story. And there's a certain mental lowering of the guard that comes in listening, hearing vulnerability, taking in a new idea, not necessarily to agree with it, but taking it in nonetheless. You know the way certain ideas pop into our heads only to distract us? They're like tripwires. They trip us up, keep us from going deep, from feeling our emotions. Like thinking I'm talking too much about spirituality or not enough about social justice, not talking like UUs talk. Or dad jokes, distracting us from our room's emotions, keeping us from going deep. So this is half my idea, to ease up on the tripwires, the sinew of tripwires, to open up to something deeper, a deeper kind of emotional, mental, and spiritual healing. And this second idea, it's really just out there for me to grasp it, posed as a question. What bones? What are these bones behind all the reflexive, sinew-tightening push against thoughts? And my attempt to answer, to make a little emotional space inside this big, big hall. For some of us, our hearts are broken. We grieve losing someone. Grieve losing someone. A family nest has emptied. A parent loved us too much, or not enough, or from too far away. Or maybe someone was so loving and so admirable that our whole lives consist of stepping into their footprints. I am not here to judge you or your stories by the shape or grace or bend or strength of your bones, nor by the depth of your answers, by the shade or color of your stories. Today, it is enough for you to ask such a question of yourself. Enough today for you to look into the mirror and to ponder not your worth or value, not what you'll do next, but to contemplate what part of you makes you the you are today, guides the you are today. What in you lies down with you in the night? For you, that's a question I cannot answer. For you, it's a question that only you can answer, perhaps discover. Discover that part of you that lies beyond the tripwire defenses that we all have. And these bones, we can contemplate what it means to support them. It surely means, in part, to accept them. These bones from which we draw meaning, by which we form the shape of our current lives. So I offer this modest call to action, to discover and define for yourself these aspects, these bones and sinews both, that so define these important parts of you. Now, in coming to know yourself at one level, nothing changes. And of course, in coming to know yourself, everything in this world changes. I can imagine 3 reactions here. 1, some are uncertain about what their innermost self is, who their bones are. I relate to that. Might be my secret home base. It takes effort or contemplation or just examples from others just to find a handle into a bone story. 2, others might feel solidly knowing who their bones are, their innermost self. They're brimming to tell you or someone. This is the nub of their life, gives their life its arc, ready, maybe even eager to tell. And 3, some people think they know, but this bone story, it's just too precious, too delicate to speak of aloud. And so it's kept beside them, inside them, in the filaments of nighttime, not the voices of daylight. So some are primed to speak, some inclined to listen. And of the latter, some listen to discover, and others, they listen to gain the words and courage to speak. And of those who speak, understand that they give of themselves, providing examples, giving language and courage and a certain kind of hope, a belief in ourselves. There's a certain gift not talked about much, not these days. The gift of listening, out of curiosity, the gift of positive regard for another human being, listening as its own gift, with its own skills. witnessing as its own gift with its own skills. Like the skills of mirroring, understanding, and caring. Oprah's famous for mirroring. She listens, leans in and says, "You don't say." Or, "Oh my." Reflecting back the narrator's own emotions. That's mirroring. Or a listener might say, "You must have felt so lonely." Or, "You must have felt so angry." Statements like that wrap complex feelings into coherence. That's understanding. Mirroring and understanding both pull the narrator along, encouraging the telling and reinforcing the self-patience sometimes required to unfold a story into its telling. The third listening skill, caring, is what's practical and action-oriented. So you need a ride to the doctor? Or you want me to address the city council? Caring statements are strangely double-edged. If the purpose of the story is asking for help, caring's exactly the thing. But if the purpose of the story is telling the story, caring can over-hurry a story into a conclusion that's beside the point. Mirroring, understanding, and caring, different facets of empathic connection. There remains the gift of speaking your story so that others find the words and courage to speak of theirs. The gifts of listening and the gift of speaking. And only you can name your story, your journey. Drawn, as Rumi says, from a place where words are born of silence and where the whispers of the heart arise. May you find joy in this day. May you weave peace with this day. And may you form memories too from this day. Namaste.
And so this song was written by someone named Sarah Dan Jones, just after September 11th, as it turns out. The song has since taken a life of its own and has been used at student vigils, protest rallies, adults aiding their meditation, hospice, choirs, children or parents singing their kids to sleep. It's a very nice meditative song. Melody first time. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love again. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Now, whatever you like. I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. Thank you.
And now we're concluding our service, and we will read the candle extinguishing words of We Are One by Reverend Amy Zucker Morgenstein. Please read with me. Never has it been more true than now. We extinguish this flame, but the sparks within us remain alight. From each of us in our supposed solitude, the signals buzz and hum, sparkling through space one another, connecting us invisibly but palpably. We are one, and from every window our light shines.
It's an uplifting song written by a UU minister from Canada named Wendy Luella Perkins. This hymn is often used at the beginning of a UU service, but Bill wanted to use it today as a closing hymn, as his way of thanking all of you for being part of this community. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here, and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here, and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Actually, could we do it one more time? I think we're just getting into it. So let's do it one more time. Okay.